past all of them as well. What a move to the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Race fans, and welcome along to rounds 4 and 5 of the World GT Championship, coming to you from Jerez in Spain. And this promises to be an intriguing round, one of our special event rounds of this season. It's the first one of the season. My name is Paul Smith, Peter Mackay joining me alongside, and I hope you don't mind the gimmick infringement there, stealing your line at the start there, Peter.
You take it for a test drive anytime you want, Paul, anytime you want. Nothing can get me down when we're going to a virtual Jerez for racing. This place is just wonderful, a great town in the south of Spain. And I noticed there, just on our wonderful overhead shot, that they've also scanned the nearby golf course, the Monte Castillo Barcelo golf course. A very nice golf course, I can gladly report, and an even better racetrack next door.
Yeah, certainly we're looking forward to this one. As I say, it's week 3, rounds 4 and 5 of this championship, and we've seen a little bit of a Porsche domination at the start of races. I mean, Alex Davidson, of course, the first week getting those couple of race wins, but last week we weren't so much seeing that Porsche domination in the very damp Silverstone.
What wasn't that fantastic at Silverstone in an endurance race, seeing the wet weather playing such havoc with everything? And yes, the Porsches were very strong in qualifying and early on in the race, but yeah, as you rightly say, it really flipped on its head later on.
Absolutely. So this is going to be the end of our first quarter of the season here at Jerez. We then have a week off next week before we then head to Circuit Zandvoort for another one of our special events. So back-to-back special events for the drivers, and then Suzuka for a next endurance round. I love an endurance race around Suzuka. Misano then for 2 45-minute feature races, before we then get another break at the halfway point of the season. Long Beach, along with Spa-Francorchamps and Le Mans, rounds up the third quarter of the season, and the final quarter it's Barcelona, Road America, finishing off on the high banks of Daytona on October the 28th. And you will not want to miss any of that. But the drivers, they are competing for a championship. It is pro standing, starting with Alex Davidson for that WSR Esports Butt Kicker Porsche, still in the lead of the championship. But Victor Wilson in the Ferrari, second place for Bayos Simsport, just 59 points behind. 1 point behind him is Josh Thompson in the Team Redline Ferrari after his win last time out, ahead of Nathan Moore, Anders Meyer with James Boumet, Alex Gall, Alex Liptrovich, Gabriel Erdelay and Michael Adoka rounding out your top 10. Pro-Am, it's led by a duo of Full Tilt Motorsport drivers, Michael Gray, who was having difficulties last week in the rain, ahead of his team boss of Paul Webster by 19 points. Richard Simner for DCW Racing is in third place, ahead of Jamie Rushworth with Adam Watson, the hard-charging Adam Watson last week, Dan Blackwell, Nick Kirstens, and the Archer Joe Newman. Jack Osborne round out your top 10. Then in AM, it's Rhys Saunders who's currently leading that one by 61 points for Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge. Then it's Jess Payne Wilkins in that Full Tilt competition car, 61 points back from Rhys. And then Ben Altria for Full Tilt Motorsport, further back from them. Ben Bennyworth ahead of Adam Locke, then Simon Andre Livingston, Lee King McGee, Adam Hedgecock, Jonathan Walker and Mads Kelton rounds out the top 10. In your teams championships, it's 50 points that separate the two WSR esports teams. The Butt Kicker team leading the normal esports team in second place. 81 points off the leader is Altitude Esports by 3M, ahead of Bayos Simsport. Altitude Esports by SimStickers, Atomic Esports Evo, Racing Lab Esports powered by Ford, KRD, Racing Lab Esports and Prestanda Nomad round out the 10 teams in Pro. And then we've got 10 teams in AM as well, and it's led by Full Tilt Motorsport. They've got a 163 point lead over the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge team. Atomic Esports, they're not far back in third place, but just 7 points clear of Full Tilt competition. And it's DCW Racing, Quirtamas Motorsport, TechSport Academy by AMS, Boosted Motorsports, Full Tilt Racing and Writer Engineering Esports yet to score points. But we're here at Jerez. Time is counting down in qualifying. Drivers just getting their last laps, although that's an abandoned lap from Ross McFarlane, who currently has pole position. But once again, Peter, those Porsches in qualifying look imperious.
They do, walking out the top 3 there. I mean, absolutely ominous for the rest of the field. But we've seen, though, their 1 lap pace and their early pace is very good. But in the long run, we'll have to wait and see.
Now, of course, we have been saying that this is one of our feature events here on the World GT Championship. Just to remind people what that involves, it's a 30-minute race to start with, ordered in grid order. And then we have the spin of the reverse grid wheel, before then a 60-minute grid race with the grid determined by that spin that wheel. 65% fuel limit, so they will need to make a fuel stop at some point in that second race. And well, drivers just abandoning laps. One thing that I have noticed, Peter, while I've been watching the practice here, and it's something that's going, you'll see me, my eye twitching every now and again with it. You can use and abuse the track limits here.
You can. You got to remember, this is in Andalusia, Paul, where everyone is very, very relaxed. So you know the track limits. Who needs to get stressed about something like that? Let's just let them do. Let track limits be bygones, and rather than spending hours analysing the data and looking at onboards, just go off and have a nice lunch instead. That's very much the Jerez way.
So what you're saying is the judge of facts are just having a little siesta.
Exactly.
Out there.
Exactly. Why stress?
Well, as the arbiter of track limits, of strict track limits, I don't personally agree, but this is where we are. This is the rules that they're having to work to. Jack Sedgwick having to abandon his lap, so he's going to be starting in 10th place for him. Nathan Moore, I mean, you look at the qualifying, the thing that stands out to me, third row of the grid, your top Pro-Am of Michael Gray.
Yeah, that's really impressive from Michael Gray, and this is not an easy circuit to overtake on for cars. For bikes, it's not so bad, but for cars, definitely not. So if you've got a great grid position, it's worth its weight in gold. So great stuff from Michael Gray, and he's 5 positions ahead of the second place Pro-Am driver Joe Newman. Reece Saunders continues his amazing run at the top of the AM class in 16th overall. Good start for him as well.
We've got a 51 car grid, so I'm going to have quite the effort to run through the entire grid here. I hope that it's a full lap pace lap, but I have a funny feeling it's not around here, so wish me luck in just a few seconds time. Conditions out there, it's warm on the track, 46.7 degrees track temperature, air temperature 26.5. I mean, that's a nice summer's day here in Jerez, is that air temperature. But we are getting ourselves set for the start of this opening race, and it is an all WSR Esports butt kicker, front row of the grid. It is Porsche's 1 and 2, Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson, your Pro Championship leader. James Boumé, former champion, alongside Ethan Critchley on row number 2. Row 3, Dennis Grabowski, and then your top Pro-Am, Michael Gray in that full tilt motorsport car. Alex Gall then on row number 4, sharing that with Anders Meyer. Then Josh Thompson and Jack Sedgwick, 2 your Ferrari drivers, on the 5th row of the grid, ahead of Joe Newman and Eric Rousseff on row number 6. It's the 7th row of the grid for Victor Wolfson and the returning Will Guthrie. Then Jake Blackhall and Reece Saunders, your top AM, as Peter mentioned. Top AM in qualifying, 8th row of the grid for the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge driver. Then Nathan Moore and also Nikolai Agard on row number 9. Row 10, Michael Ovdoka and Phil Samways. Jamie Rushworth and Adam Watson share the 11th row of the grid with Bacon Zelenka and Ben Altria on row number 12. The 13th row of the grid, Andy Steele and Josh Booth with Tom Weston and Thomas Asfag on row number 14. Row 15 for Jess Payne Wilkins and Andy Archer. Then on the 16th row of the grid, Jonathan Walker with Taylor Lane, Leander Engelvelt and Ian Brown then sharing row number 17. Row 18 for Alessandro Toccio and Andrew Fairley. It's the 19th row of the grid for Nick Kirstens, who had issues last time out in the rain. And it's a welcome return to the grid for Ben Gregory, sharing that row of the grid. Row 20, Simon Andrea Livingston and Nathan Healy with Chris Chatterton and Mike Horder sharing the 21st row of the grid. And still we go on. Row 22 for Adam Locke and Mike Barber with Matthias Temme and Adam Hedgecock then on row number 23. Row 24 for Mads Kelton and Ben Bennyworth. Final couple of rows of the grid, Peter Herschel along with Gabriel Erdelai, who had a qualifying ban, and Harry Langford as well on the back row of the grid. Well, Peter, Harry Langford, another one who had a qualifying ban. A big grid once again. You mentioned it here that Jerez in cars, especially GT cars, it's not the easiest track to overtake at, is it?
Not at all. No, one of the main opportunities is going down into the dry sack hairpin, very tight right-hand hairpin at the end of the back straight. But apart from that, it's tricky. It's really, really tricky. You've got to try and just force the driver in front of you into making some kind of error. Just keep the pressure on and hope for that. In this opening sprint race, it's you've really got to just be patient and wait for the reverse grid feature race and hope to put some more things together there with strategy, what have you. This is a track where you've got to be patient on that sense. If you try to force moves to happen, you can cause issues.
It's a track also where I remember as a, I would have been 13-year-old watching the European Grand Prix, the final race of the F1 season racing around here. That's the last time they raced here in Formula One, with Michael Schumacher famously crashing into Jacques Villeneuve. But of course it's the race where they famously, the front three of Villeneuve, Schumacher and Heinz-Harald Frentzen all set the same lap time, 1 minute 21, I want to say 0.072 was the time, if my memory recalls correctly. So it is a historic track, but of course the Grand Prix racing, I always think of Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell battling it out in 1986 in the heat. You know, there's been many a great moments around this track in four-wheel motorsport and two-wheel motorsport. Well, it's second to none, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's iconic for the motorcycle world. The first Spanish Grand Prix was here back in 1987, and it's just been a stalwart ever since of two-wheeled racing. At that final corner, the Lorenzo corner, goodness me, has there been drama there over the years. That does offer one last, should we say, one last ditch attempt to make a move there going into that final tight left-hander.
Well, the drivers are getting themselves set. They're through the Ayrton Senna chicane, through Ferrari, and then heading towards the Lorenzo hairpin for the start of this round number 4 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. Delighted to have your company here with Paul Smith and Peter Mackay on commentary. We'll take you through all the action, and it's going to be early off the hairpin then for Ross McFarlane. The green flag is in the air, and we've got James Boumé being squeezed onto the grass. Very aggressive from Alex Davidson into the first corner, and still they're side by side through there. And it's going to be Davidson. Is it just ahead? Yes, it is. But my goodness, early aggression here in the start of the race for your Pro Championship leader to squeeze somebody like that through there. That's risking it.
Yeah, and Boumé wasn't backing out, was he? He was two wheels on the grass. He just kept his foot in it there, and this is really what we have here in this new era of the World GT Championship. WSR Esports and Altitude Esports going toe to toe. Two great outfits. One running in the Porsche for WSR and Altitude running the Audi this time round, switching away from another manufacturer to the Audi. Is a little bit wide there, going around the dry sack hairpin and spin for one of the Audis. Oh dear.
Agard. It's Agard who's been caught up in that, and he was assisted. But when you're going 3 wide down there into dry sack, it is asking for trouble, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it really is. It's a really tight right-hand hairpin. It's now known in the two-wheel world as the Dani Pedrosa hairpin, but I always think of it as dry sack, named after one of the many great sherries produced here in the town of Jerez. As they come up towards the Lorenzo hairpin for the first time, and you can see there is an opportunity to stick a nose in there as well. Josh Thompson getting very racy in the blue and red line Ferrari there, trying to make a move on the Mustang of Anders Meyer.
Anders Meyer, though, making his Ford very wide indeed. Not that it's not wide enough already, is that car. Michael Gray, though, is getting a little bit bullied here, both by Josh Thompson and now Jack Sedgwick, who's alongside him. He's got Alex Gall behind. Now Thompson and Sedgwick are trying to move forward from the 5th row of the grid, and Sedgwick just had to get out of it. This is an opportunity for Gall to maybe have a look at it, but no, nothing forthcoming. But it's the run off of this corner now down the straight. Gray very wide into the gravel. That's going to slow his run here. Here comes Sedgwick. Here comes Gall in towards the dry shack hairpin and onto the brakes very hard indeed. Well, Sedgwick gets a punt up the rear there. Goes a bit loose, and Alex Gall is going to try and take advantage of it all.
Yeah, Michael. They're both off. They're both off. Cedric's in the fence. The defending champion is in the fence then on the run up towards Aspar. Oh dear, that was just getting a little bit frantic there between Jack Sedgwick, Alex Gall and Michael Gray. And tell you what, Michael Gray wasn't backing out there either, was he?
No, he wasn't indeed. And yeah, he was certainly going, he was up for a fight there, that's for sure. But you've got to wonder, between Gall and Sedgwick, was it a case of one squeezing the other a bit too much, as you say, going into Aspar, that long sweeping left-hander, and we've still got 2-3 wide action going on further down your field. I think one of those drivers is Gabriel Erdelai, is trying to work his way forward through the field after starting at the back of the grid. But this is crazy. We're on to lap 3 of the race and we're still going 2 wide into turn 1.
Who says you can't overtake at Jerez? It might have been me. Might have been me. Let's see, have another look. Sedgwick. Oh, it's unlucky. Cedric just kind of...
It's
followed his normal line.
Lines. It's 2 lines going into 1, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. That's why they pay the big bucks. Paul, couldn't have said it better myself.
I don't know who pays me the big bucks, but
someone is.
Well, Phil Samways here, he finds himself then a little bit further down the order in 18th. He's got Nathan Moore all over the back of his car. In front of him, Rhys Saunders down a place from where he started, but again, the best AM driver in the top 20 of a 51 car field. Again, a good showing, and I don't think he's helping his cause for staying in AM, I don't think.
Possibly not. No, he leads the AM Championship by 61 points, does Rhys Saunders. But to be quite honest, I think he would be pretty competitive in Pro-Am.
Yeah.
In terms of his overall positions, he would be scoring points to be competitive in that championship. So it's, again, let's see how things go. You know, we've seen drivers progress all the way up through the ranks and end up, you know, being at the sharp end of pro. Look at James Boumé and Ethan Critchley. They're 2 perfect examples of that.
I was about to say Ethan Critchley was the first AM winner of a season. Oh, good grief, that would have been, what, 3 or 4 seasons ago. And pretty much the race after, he was a Pro-Am. So he'd shown his pace all the way through the start of that season, but then, yeah, he sort of progressed through to Pro-Am, and now he's in the pro seats. And with a top team like WSR Esports right now in the butt kicker team, 4th place in the race. In fact, right in front of the driver that we're on board with here, Denis Grabowski, is another one who was a Pro-Am champion, moved up into pro. And I think he's just been involved in a few incidents last season at Pro. He'll be hoping for a better run this season, will Dennis?
Yes, he will. He will, but it's not been the best of starts, has it? To the start of the start of the year. But Grabowski much more like it now in 5th position. I just read on our YouTube chat. Great to see so many of you in there tonight here on RaceSpotTV, but. It did make me shudder slightly when first to comment, Adam Watson, he said, so if the Spanish are in charge, I won't get any penalties then? Just my cold shiver up my spine there.
Yeah, get your tin hats out, because I think you might need it. The front 5 have made a bit of a breakaway from Anders Meyer, haven't they? In fact, the front 3 are breaking away from this race of Critchley and Grabowski. So the front 3 are staying as they are at the moment here. 23 minutes remain in this race at the start of lap 5. Then you've got, like I say, this little pair of... Grabowski looking to the inside at Michelin. Not able to make the move. That's not really the best overtaking spot, although Josh Thompson behind made it work at Michelin.
Yeah, it's really tight through there. I mean, it's tight on a motorbike, let alone a wide GT3 car. It's quite remarkable. And then now as they come round the Cito Pons corner, it's always a real favourite for many of the riders when they come through there. You're just throwing gears at it, trying to keep the front wheel down and charging towards the dry sack hairpin. But great foot in the GT car as well, carrying a lot of speed. Of course, Jerez is a hugely popular hugely popular winter test venue as well. A lot of the best endurance racing cars that have ever driven have been tested here at Jerez in their development.
And if I recall, it is known as a bit of an abrasive surface as well on this, so it can really test the tyre manufacturers as well around this venue. It can really put some work through them.
Yes, it does. Yeah, there's a lot of constant corners, and more often than not, you've got a high track temperature too. It's a lovely warm place in Jerez. And before you ask, no, I'm not on commission from the tourist board, but I feel I should be.
Yeah, the check's in the post, honest.
It's paid for in lunches.
Oh wow! I mean, if that's the case, I'm your man.
The longest lunch I've ever had is just as the cars are coming around now, heading up towards turn 1. It's just over where those trees were, just as we flashed through the shot. There is a wonderful restaurant there called La Cueva. We had, and I kid you not, a 10.5-hour lunch there a couple of years ago.
Surely that starts off as a brunch, then goes into lunch, then ends up in your tea or dinner.
It went through lots of things, Paul.
I mean, I like a good meal, don't get me wrong, but 10 hours? I think that's a bit much as we have a look back at some of the replays. So this is from the start of the race then, and this is what happened to Agard, and it's the car from the outside coming in. It just clips the front of the car and settles it, and the Porsche behind, bang, into them, and around goes Agard.
I think actually for lap 1, considering how many cars we have on the grid, the fact we only had one car getting tipped around, I think that's not bad. Really, it's quite a narrow circuit here at Jerez, so if you're pushing 50 GT3 cars through it, inevitably you're going to get one or two not come out the other side. So it is really, really tricky on those opening couple of laps. There's a good example of it, just your almost classic motorway pile-up there.
Yeah, that was Leander Engelbelt who got rear-ended there in that one, so there we go. Will Chadwick, by the way, mentioning the delicacy from his hometown, could eat a Wigan kebab for 10 hours. Do you know what a Wigan kebab is, Peter?
No.
It's a pie in a bread roll.
Pie in a... That sounds excellent.
As Rhys Saunders looking down the inside, and will get that move done? No, because the car on the outside does carry the speed around as Michael Evdoka, and that means it holds on to place for time being, although behind the full tilt car diving down the inside. And that's going to be Nathan Moore and Phil Samways switching positions and switching back. There's a KRD car involved in all of that as well. That's Jamie Rushworth we're on board with right now. Rushworth can get the run out the corner here, but the two in front are just blocking the way for him right now.
Yeah, no way through for Rushworth here, although he thought better of it. He's like, could I go through that gap? No, maybe not wise. Maybe not wise for Rushworth in that black and day glow yellow Porsche, and yeah, it has to filter back into line a little bit. Actually gets a little bit unsighted slightly there, does Rushworth, and loses a few car legs.
And Ben Altria behind him is getting onto the back of this little gaggle of cars. Altria is another one today in the early going in this race. Another Ram having a really good start to this race here at Jerez, up to 21st, up 3 places from where he started. So that Audi, it's looking a bit menacing behind Rushworth.
It is looking good, isn't it? Yeah, looking very strong, good on the change of direction, and seems to be good on traction as well as the Porsche. The Ferrari drivers have commented that traction is very much at a premium for them, or completely absent in the worst cases. Josh Thompson, the leading Ferrari at the moment, sitting in 6th place, and he was praying for cool temperatures after round 1. Well, he got them at Silverstone last week with the rain. I don't think that was quite what he had in mind, but it worked.
I've just had a look at the track temperature.
Lots.
Forget about factor 50, you want factor emulsion on. for this. It is the same temperature that the pit lane was at Monza for me last year when I was a pit reporter. 51 degrees is that track temperature.
Did you still have the flat cap on?
Yes, of course.
You did, didn't
It was
you?
my safety. It was my safety cap.
Yes. Yeah, that was warmer than a warm thing in the oven.
As yes, I can attest to it. I had to buy new shoes after that, by the way. That my shoes were ruined from that trip. But that's
they melted.
Story. Well, no, it's just that I think I walked about so many miles in that pit lane and then up onto the podium that I'd pretty much worn them through. They were a bit of an older pair of boots, to be fair, so that's my fault. Joe Newman, by the way, getting back onto topic, ahead of Victor Wolfson, who had a really, really good race last week, apart from getting involved in one or two things with Wolfson, but really shone in the rain, but another one in the Ferrari, struggling to make his way through on that Lamborghini in front of him.
Yeah, Wolfson's had a great start to the championship, sitting in second. He's a point ahead, actually, of Josh Thompson, so it's been a really solid start, but at the moment a little bit bottled up behind the third place driver in Pro-Am. The Pro-Am is showing a really good start to this race, 3 of them in the top 12 right now, and Joe Newman holding his own in one of the leading, if not I think it might be the leading Lamborghini Huracan.
I'm just having a look. Yes, it is. There's not many out there, unfortunately, for the Lamborghinis. I think there's 2 or 3 on the grid here. So, yeah, one of the lesser spotted Lamborghinis. Another lesser spotted car is that, the Mustang, just leading this group of cars. This is Thomas Aspar. We're ahead of Josh Boot, Andy Archer, Tom Weston, Jesse Payne Wilkins, and more. There's just a huge queue of cars. It's like a bank holiday Monday behind a caravan right now. Although you wouldn't have a Mustang towing a caravan, as Josh Boot nearly ended up in the rear of Thomas's car, and you don't need to ask others twice. And thank you very much, Andy Archer.
Oh, and then a little look from one of the DCW Racing Porsches. Oh, big hip check there. The 44 car up alongside the bright purple atomic Ferrari of Josh Boot, and now they're side by side still. Oh, big slide there, huge slide.
And this is all slowing them down. You can see just the queue of traffic just getting held up behind these two into the centre S, the centre chicane, should I say, deep on the DCW car. That's compromised the line all the way through here. This should give Boot a great run through into Lorenzo, the final corner of this circuit. Looking to the inside, it's slightly, just looking at it there, it's slightly, just a little bit of camber to that corner that helps the drivers into there.
It does, yeah. It's slightly different than it used to be, but yeah, there's definitely a bit of cambering in there. And Tom Weston left the door open. I thought Josh Boot was actually going to have a dive in there, but no, not quite. But yeah, that was tight there for a moment. So good to see a couple of the new Corvette Z06 GT3Rs of Ian Brown and Andrew Fairley in there. I like how they're painted red, so we can call them Road to Red Corvettes.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian Brown, he is not showing the FEAR here today. He is definitely getting involved in the mix and is trying to really mix things up here, as down the inside again goes Weston, and Josh Boot is holding it around the outside. That'll give him the inside for the left-hander at Asper, and stays ahead, does Boot, but it's becoming more and more difficult for him, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and they're all getting bottled up behind. There's enough of them there to party like it's 1999 with those 2 Corvettes in there as well. Oh goodness, it's yeah, properly bottled up behind this battle, but that's Jerez. That's what can happen.
Yeah, it's a case of where do you look in all of this. Absolutely incredible, as through the centre chicane, and if people are wondering why there's a chicane there, it's because in 1990 Martin Donnelly had the most sickening of accidents through that fast right-hander. There wasn't as much runoff as there is now there at that corner, and basically he was still attached to his race seat, but he was laid in the middle of the track. The rest of the car was completely disappeared from him. It was just him in his seat. It was sickening to see.
Yeah, it does make you shudder, doesn't it? It really does make you shudder. The accident there from Matt Donnelly.
Oh no!
Mick Gregory's lost it. Oh dear. Oh, he's just lost it on the exit there.
He's fortunately hit the tyre barrier there, actually. He's lucky with that, and he's not actually got a mechanical vehicle warning flag. There's a Lamborghini in the gravel trap there. Try to recover to track. I can tell you, Nikolai Agard has actually got a black flag out there for the instant limit. So he's reached the instant limit, so we'll have to serve a drive-through penalty. You know, just to compound his misery from being turned around on lap 1.
Yeah, that's pretty early for to get that too. So yeah, it's with it being so closely bunched together, it is easy to make contact with other drivers, and that's where the incident points really do climb up. You can see there at that Ayrton Senna chicane how there's the slightly longer loop but much faster loop round there, which they still use for the motorcycles, where they're carrying big speed through there, particularly with the aerodynamics of a modern day MotoGP bike. I think it does break the flow up, unfortunately. I think for GT cars, keep it without the chicane there. I think it's nice. Okay.
I think it's all to do with mass times velocity equals force, isn't it?
Yes.
And these cars are not light cars in the terms of motorsport, are they? In terms of road cars, they're very light cars, but in motorsport, 1,300 kilos, just under, it's a lot.
Oh, spin for, it's either Ian Brown or Andrew Fairley.
It's Fairley.
Oh, Fairley's turned around. Oh dear. The Pirellis have said no more.
And Chris Chatterton was caught up in that innocent part. It very little that Fairley could have done there to avoid contact with Chatterton. But yeah, around he went. And he's back up to speed now, so it doesn't look too bad, although his tyres will be absolutely screaming at him right now. They will not be pleasant to run on, and he's going to be overtaken here in just a moment's time. The big BMW down the inside, but barely gets the run out of the corner at Drysack.
Yeah, it was Harry Langford and the BMW having a little pop up the inside there, but decided better of it. This is what happened to Andrew Fairley. Now, did he get a help? Yes. He gets plowed by one of the Ferraris.
It was Kirsten, wasn't it, Matt?
Dear.
Yeah, Nick Kirsten's was right there in there, and he's the one who just... And again, it was just the slightest of contact, but when you've got a car on the edge already, all it takes is the slightest of contact, and around it goes. And again, to compound his misery, Fairley's now got a black flag for instant limits.
Yeah, that is compounding the misery. They do, of course, have a bullfighting ring here in Jerez, and clearly the Kirsten's in the Ferrari was doing his best bullfighting impression with the red Corvette in front of him, just decided to plough him out the way.
To be honest, I thought that was a venue for Adam Watson, but there you go. Fairley's is on his pit box here. He's obviously having to get some sort of repairs done as well as that. So you can get repairs done, but it converts it into a really long penalty in the pit road. I think you end up with about a 41-second stop and hold if you do any damage repairs whilst you're in pit road.
So not the best start to the day, and that means that you'll miss unless we have a complete reverse grid, you'll miss the reverse grid draw for race 2, which is really important to be able to get a good run at things. I mean, at the front of the field, all very orderly. McFarlane from Davidson, as we saw.
I can tell you, we've had the mother and father of all accidents on the back straight towards Drysack. Ben Gregory's one of them involved. There's other cars. Sedgwick is on the pit road. Toccio Zelenka also on pit road. Oh my goodness, it's a Academy. Pictures just lit up here with the mechanical meatball warning flags. Hedgecock, Tokyo, Gregory, Zelenka and Sedgwick all on pit road with mechanical meatball warning flags. Oh, what's all that about? And just, ploughing into it in the Lamborghini. And there's very little that the others coming through could do there at that point.
A mess. A total mess. No, not what we like to see. Not what we like to see at all. And the thing is, it's not just race ruined, it's race meeting ruined. Because you're going to miss the reverse grid draw, you're starting from the back, and again, this isn't a circuit where you can make big forces forward, so yeah, it's a disaster, but not so for these two WSR Sports Porsches. Their initial pace is incredibly obvious, but we have seen when the fuel starts coming off, the Porsche starts to fade back. Now, of course, they could well have solved that in the weeks since the moment look good in chamber and then also in the altitude down. They're not a million mile away, so if the Porsches that Harlan Davidson were they quite dramatically have the occasion so far this season, they went right there to pick up the speed.
Now, I'm just reading through the regulations, because it used to be that you had to be either on the lead lap or a minimum of maximum 1 lap down to qualify for the full reverse if it did get pulled. The regulations don't actually state that anymore, so if Andy Shield, who is the series admin, is listening into this broadcast, if he could just confirm if it is a full reverse grid, then we'd see a full reverse grid. The regulations don't state that there's any limit. Here's an onboard then from the Lamborghini. So you've got Gregory on the outside. The Audi on the inside is, well, just decided to bash between each other. Sedgwick just gets involved in that. Yeah, that is what you would call a mess.
Total mess. Jack Sedgwick's start to the season has been less than desirable. He's outside of the top 5 at the moment, well over 100 points behind your championship leader Alex Davison, and that just adds to the misery. He got the championship win last season, but he's set himself a big uphill task early on.
Through the go there, heading towards the end of the lap once again. But yeah, this is Adam Watson behind Jake Blackhall at RaceSpotTV, just in front of them. This is just outside of the top 10. We're looking at 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th for Michael Ovdoka behind. Reece Saunders has dropped another place down to 18th, but is still your top AM. Your top Pro-Am is still Michael Gray. 8th place, still in this
Watson.
Watson! Hold your brakes.
Look, if you all keep behaving like this, there'll be no Hamon and Sherry afterwards.
Now, credit to the WSR Esports Porsche, held back, waited for Watson, so obviously with that contact, knows that maybe not the innocent party and all of that, and yeah, just stuck a nose in there, made contact, and has decided, right, I'm just going to wait. Oh, Watson was so close to wiping out that WSR car of Nathan Moore.
Yeah, great sportsmanship there to hold back and allow Adam Watson to continue. I mean, have you ever heard of the saying, you live by the sword, you die by the sword? But anyway, moving on.
Indeed. As the
Are you
two
familiar
leaders...
with that saying? That's not moving on, but never mind. You know what I mean?
I know the saying, yes, absolutely. As we've got more replays coming along here. This is Mads Kelsen. And this is going to be down towards Drysack. And so this is what happened with the incident in front of him. And wow! Luckiest man on the track right there.
You'd need a glass of Drysack to settle the nerves after that. Goodness. Yeah, so 2.5 minutes to go, and the two WSR Porsches are looking strong. The gap back to Bumi in third is fairly consistent. Question is, is there a team order here, or is it all to play for? Davidson leads the championship by 59 points. Of course, Ross McFarlane missed the first round, so he kind of needs the points actually. So you never know. It might well be that Davidson sits behind him, but they are pretty close for running and flying formation.
Got another replay coming up here, and don't say this is Ian Brown. Oh, back end. Oh, hold it. Oh dear. Can't park there, sir. And it gets out of the way. Don't hit the barrier. No, he manages to just avoid the barrier there, but well done avoiding that one there.
Yeah, that is close one. This is still looking like it's getting a bit feisty here. Just the body language of these two WSR Porsches are, they're just, they both fancying a go at this, I think. Ross McFarlane has the key track position, and Davidson's right in behind him, and they've got to be very, very careful, because if they start squabbling at all, then Boume will be right on them in that blue and yellow Audi.
Boume will be sitting there hoping for these two to do a Matt Neil Gordon shed at Alton Park on the last lap, won't he? He'll be hoping for these two to wipe each other out so that he could take the victory. He's a bit too far back to try and attack these two, and that's why you're seeing the two WSR Esports Butt Kicker drivers in their Porsches. Alex Davidson in second place, Ross McFarlane, your race leader, four-time champion Ross McFarlane versus Pro Championship leader in Alex Davidson behind him. And these two, I don't think there's any team orders in that team right now. I think it's very much just play it clean.
Yes, fight each other but don't hit each other.
Which, given seeing what we've seen so far in this race, is easier said than done. Into dry sack for the final time this race, and these two running out of spaces for Davidson to make a move. I think he'll just settle for second place here. Famous last words of a commentator is that. But I think Davidson, McFarlane a little bit wide there through Asper, into Angel Nieto, and through the right hand Pellica, and then finally through Peter's probably shaking his head at these butchering of pronunciations of corner names here, but the Ayrton centre chicane for the last time of this opening race. Remember, there's a second 60-minute race after this one. A reverse grid wheel decides who's on pole position, but right now Ross McFarlane from pole position to checkered flag. He's your race winner for WSR Esports Butt Kicker. Across the line he goes with his teammate behind in second, Chase Boume in third. Your best pro-am, Michael Gray, is just coming out the last corner for Full Tilt Motorsport. Great result for a pro-am driver of Michael Gray. And in 16th, but benefiting from a couple of incidents, back to where he started, Rhys Saunders for the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge Audi. He's coming through the final corner, and it's another AM win for Rhys Saunders.
Another super drive, and increases the advantage at the front of the AM Championship there for Rhys Saunders. The next AM driver is Ben Altria. Great run for Ben Altria there. He's third in the AM Championship, second in the class there, 19th overall. Great stuff.
Yeah, really good result for the two AMs there. Altria getting the chance to show what he could do, and look, 5 places from where he started. That's a good effort, in my opinion. Still more fighting to the line, and well, it's not been the big front-engined car that Racing Lab seemed to enjoy last time with the BMW. That Mustang, I think it's taken a little while for them to get used to it. Here's Mads, Mads Kelsen then with the front end missing off of his Ferrari. The spare parts truck is just in the paddock. You'll pick up a new one there, but pretty much I think we've got everybody across the line here in this race. We'll be able to take you through your provisional race results here from round 4 of the World GT Championship after, how could I forget this, the spin of the wheel here to decide who will be on pole position. And as it slows down, we'll get to see... Oh, it's going to be a low one. It is going to be a low one. Number 11. Oh my goodness. Wait until you sit here. Which name is on pole position? It's a great one for this driver after a good result. I bet the front guys, though, in this race are delighted with that, but it's an WSR Esports butt kicker 1-2 for Ross McFarlane and Alex Davidson. Then Altitude Esports by 3M, 3 and 4, Boumet and Grabowski. Critchley and Thompson then in 5th and 6th places, ahead of Anders Meyer in 7th. Michael Gray, your top Pro-Am in the Full Tilt Motorsports Audi in 8th, ahead of Alex Gall, and Will Guthrie in 10th place. He'll be sharing the front row of the grid with Joe Newman from Atomic Esports Evo. So Joe in his Lamborghini will be starting from the front row of the grid. Everybody else will be starting where they finished. So Victor Wilson, Jake Blackhall, Eric Rousset and Nathan Moore. Reece Saunders, your top AM driver for Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge in 16th place, ahead of Phil Samways and Jamie Rushworth. Ben Altria for Full Tilt Motorsport in 19th place, the next best AM driver, ahead of Adam Watson in 20th place. 21st for Thomas Asfag with Andy Archer and Josh Boots. Then Gabriel Erdelai, great recovery drive from him after starting in the penultimate place. 26 places gained for Gabriel. He's your biggest mover in the field here today. Tom Weston ahead of Jesse Payne Wilkins, Taylor Lane and Andy Shield, with Jonathan Walker and Michael Evdoka rounding out the top 30. Then 31st for Matthias Temek with Mike Horder, Simon Andre Livingston and Adam Locke. Chris Chatterton ahead of Mike Barber with Ian Brown. Then Nathan Healy, Leander Angeldfeld, who had those issues early on in this race. Harry Langford in 40th place. 41st for Nick Kirstens ahead of Ben Bennyworth with Nikolai Agard and Mads Kelsen. Then it's Peter Herschel, and then one lap down, Andrew Fairley, Adam Hedgecock, Ben Gregory and Alessandro Toccio. Bacon Zelenka 6 laps down, and then Jack Sedgwick, after getting wiped out 51st in that NX car, 6 laps down. So that is your results from this round 4 of the championship. But Peter, once again, those Porsches seeming to be loving the hot weather.
They do. It seems to work for them. They seem to have plentiful traction, so even when the grip goes down, they've still got that purchase, they've still got that bite and drive out the corner, as do the Audis it seems in general. But definitely WSR Esports have found something with that Porsche, and for those in the turbocharged cars like the Ferrari etc, they're a little bit more out at sea as things stand. And it does seem that with some of the circuits we're going to, we are getting these quite high track temperatures.
Yeah, we certainly are getting those high temperatures indeed. It's, I mean, they are running the races on the specific dates of the competition, so that would explain partly why we're getting such hot weather for these drivers to compete with. Michael Gray, I mean, he lost 2 places from where he started, but further over the grid and then finishing 8th place. Really good result for Michael in his Pro-Am Championship tilt.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff. To be able to be in the top 10 overall, if you can do that on anything like a consistent basis in the Pro-Am class, you're going to be up there at the sharp end of the championship at the end of the year. So, and being with quite a short reverse grid, he catches that reverse grid there too. It was, you know, only 11 place reverse. So he's going to be right there in the mix and an opportunity to come away with a big old bag of points.
It is. It's great for. It's a great opportunity for Pro-Ams to be able to get some big points if they're up there in that top 10, and then get a small reverse grid. Reece Saunders, I mean, we can't really stop singing his praises, can we? I think it's a matter of time until he's a Pro-Am driver in this season. But the thing is, as you mentioned, Peter, he will be competing for Pro-Am if he does get moved up there.
That's right. His results are enough. If he's able to consistently finish at the rate that he's doing, he is close enough to compete for Pro-Am Championship. He might not be right at the front of the class, but he's definitely there to be able to pick up the results and compete for it. So it could be that we see that. Not that we're calling for it, it's not our decision at all, but right now he's just steamrolling the AM class.
It certainly is, and it's interesting to see how things go and what the admins decide. Of course, they can alter people's classification after the first 3 weeks of the championship. We're on week 3 of the championship right now, so after we finish today, the admins, I'm sure, will be looking at those classifications to see if they've got the balance right. I think they've pretty much got the balance right. It's just 1 or 2 outliers. Now, this got me excited, Peter. I don't know about you, but Faf Motorsport tweeted out today that they can think of 720 reasons why you should check out iRacing in September. I can't imagine what they're alluding to there at all.
I think that's as good of a confirmation as you could ask for. We've seen in the World GT Championship here of the last couple of seasons a few drivers choosing the McLaren MP412C, which is one of the oldest GT3 cars in existence and was the kind of sole car representing McLaren on the, or certainly McLaren GT cars on the iRacing service. Now we have the latest model, the 7, or we will have the latest model, the 720S, which races in IMSA, it races in the World Endurance Championship. So there'll be many fans of the McLaren brand who'll be delighted about that, who have been waiting very, very patiently, a bit like Ford fans have been waiting for the Mustang to have the McLaren here on the iRacing platform. Is a great step, and I won't be surprised if next season in the World GT Championship we see some drivers picking it, or indeed some drivers, could they, now here's the question, Paul, could you switch to that car, although there's a penalty involved? Yep. Is that possible to switch to that car?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we could see some by the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. There is in the regulations a points penalty for if you do switch. I'm actually having a look at the rule book right now because I can't remember exactly what that points penalty is. It's a big enough one to discourage people to be changing week on week, and you can only change once, as far as I can recall as well, just from the top of my head. I'll have to find that in the break here. Between the races, but certainly I'm excited about that. Another GT3 will have to pay our respects to the MP4-12C. Such a catchy name is that one, and yeah, we'll have to see that off with a flaming salute. I think we'll be get the marshmallows out for that one. That is for sure.
We could have had them all circled around the VIR tree
yes.
and torched that, which would a ceremonial torching. That would have been quite funny. But yeah, the MP412C was it had quite a few renaissances, didn't it? It yes. Sort of every now and again it would randomly become one of the top cars to have at Bathurst. It'd been a very popular car in the Bathurst 12-hour. Great straight line speed and things like that. So it's quite funny how it sort of had many other lives, the McLaren MP412C, but the new one coming soon.
Yeah, and I know that one person has been they've enjoyed iRacing not having that McLaren. They've liked sort of poking fun at the friends who love iRacing and saying, "Oh, you haven't got that McLaren." I'm sorry, but you've lost that now. You can't do that. That is for sure. But what you can do for sure is stick around, because right after these few messages, we've got round 5 of the World GT Championship from here at Jerez.
as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Welcome back then to coverage of rounds number 4 and 5 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV. Paul Smith and Peter Mackay bringing you all of the action here tonight, and certainly this will be an intriguing round for the second one, of which, well, they're getting gridded up. So we will be able to get you through that starting grid. And I am lucky that we've got a full pace lap here so we can take our time. And it's a good job because Joe Newman in his Atomic Esports Evo Lamborghini is on pole position and sharing that front row. As I said, returning to the series this week, Will Guthrie on the front row, Alex Gall and Michael Gray on row number 2 with Anders Meyer and Josh Thompson, third row of the grid. Ethan Critchley and Dennis Grabowski continue their fight from the first race on row number 4 with James Boumé and Alex Davidson, row number 5. Row 6 for your race winner from the first race, Ross McFarlane and Victor Volson, who finished in 12th place. Everybody else starting where they finished, so Jake Blackhall and Eric Rousseff then on row number 7. Row 8 for Rhys Saunders and Nathan Moore sharing that one. Phil Samways and Jamie Rushworth on the 9th row of the grid, ahead of Ben Altria and Adam Watson. Then on row number 11, it's Thomas Ashfag and Andy Archer, with Josh Boot and Gabriel Erdelai on row number 12. 13th row of the grid for Tom Weston and Jesse Payne Wilkins, with Taylor Lane and Andy Shield on row number 14. 15th row of the grid is Jonathan Walker and Michael Avdurka. Row 16 then for Matthias Temme ahead of Mike Horder, and Simon Andre Livingston and Adam Locke then on the next row of the grid. Chris Chatterton and Mike Barber further back down your field on row number 18. Row number 19 for Ian Brown and Nathan Healy, with Leander Engeltveld and Harry Langford on row number 20. Row 21 for Nick Kirstens and Ben Bennyworth. 22nd row of the grid for Nikolai Agard and Mads Kelton, Peter Herschel and Andrew Fairley. Then on the next row of the grid with Adam Hedgecock and Ben Gregory. Alessandro Toccio, Bacon Zelenka and Jack Sedgwick doing it the hard way, all the way from the back of the grid. Well, we've got some Joe Newman fans of a certain Jack Osborne-shaped fan in the chat here, Peter. He's telling Joe to smash it. I don't think that's what you want to do with the GT3 car, though. I think you want to keep it on the track.
It's metaphorical. It's metaphorical. Smash it means like go. It means like break a leg.
I know what it means.
I'm
being facetious here, Peter.
I hadn't noticed.
46 degrees track temperature, so we're starting actually pretty much the same track temperature as race 1. The difference is this is an hour-long race rather than half an hour, but we are a little bit later into the afternoon, so in theory, with a decent sort of strength wind of 21 kilometres an hour, shouldn't be getting quite as hot as race 1. It got up to 52 degrees at the track in race 1.
Well, let's see how it progresses over the course of the race. It's certainly classic Jerez at this time of year. It's yeah, seriously hot at this time of year in the south of Spain. About an hour south of Seville, and just up the coast from Cadiz. So it's yeah, it's very much a great place for holiday. If you're a sun worshipper, it's a great place to go, great place to be.
So does that explain why I've gone and booked myself a couple of nights up in the middle of nowhere in Scotland in March? I'm not a sun worshipper myself.
If you're not a sun worshipper, no. It's actually you know, it's quite pleasant temperature in January, February, March sort of time, and it's nice and warm, but lots to see and do.
Well, there's plenty to see here. You're sat in the right place watching RaceSpotTV, delighted to have all your company still. Joe Newman, pole position. Is he going to go as early as Ross McFarlane did in race number 1? The answer is yes, he is. The green flag will be going in the air, and round number 5 of the World GT Championship is underway as they head towards the first corner at Expo 92. And Alex Gall looking to make some moves very early on in this race. If ever there was an opportunity for Alex to get a good result or even a race win, this is it.
Yeah, great opportunity for Alex Gall in that Ferrari. He's going to try and make the very most of it here as he's trying to hook it around the outside, but that won't work. Oh, nearly ends up in the gravel there, just pushing right to the limit. And watch out for Josh Thompson as well in the other Ferrari, the red line car, just at the back of the shot there. He's got a great opportunity here as whoa, that won't help with a Rowdy having a massive moment. Oh no!
Into the wall. Please don't say that was Ian Brown. It was. He's dropped down to the bottom of our timing screen. So Ian Brown having something happen out there. Mike Barber's stopped out on track as well, or returning to track. There you saw. Back towards the front of the field though. Josh Thompson's on the move. He's passed Michael Gray up to 4th place. He's getting onto the tail of Alex Gall. Josh wants another win after getting a win last time out at Silverstone. But I tell you what, those Porsches bullying that Altitude Esports Audi out of the way.
This is the battle really with the teams as well. Altitude Esports versus WSR Esports, and great move there going through, getting some moves done early, getting move done at that Ayrton Senna chicane. Through they go. Good stuff there from James Boumé.
Yeah, as well, it's actually Dennis Grabowski who was having all the issues there. Boumé is just behind Davidson, but he is in front of McFarlane. So change of position for Boumé, losing to Alex Davidson. We've got some side-by-side action going on here. Nathan Moore further down, just outside of your top 10. Adam Watson alongside him around the outside, gives him the inside for the next corner. Almost contact between the two of them, but Watson just ahead.
So there's a lot of ducking and diving here in these early stages. We saw that in race 1 as well, and of course double the length of race here with a pit stop, 60% fuel limit. So it's hard to tell exactly when we'll see the pit window coming in, but you'd imagine around 37 minutes or so we would think where we'll start to see some pit stops.
Josh Thompson's made it past Alex Gall, and in fact Gall's lost another place to Michael Gray through all of this. So Gall's gone backwards after me saying that this was an opportunity for him to get a race win. He's dropped down 2 places from where he started. Here we see on board Michael Evdoka giving his point of view down the inside of the Atomic Esports car. That's a bit of a squeeze, but he works his way through. Nice and calm behind the wheel there from Michael, so he's not feeling too much pressure, too much of the drivers behind, although he does have, as Evdoka, he's got Thomas Asfag coming through as well, so yeah, he's following through in that Ford Mustang. But great to see some of our drivers giving us sight of them behind the wheel. I love seeing it, Peter. I don't know about you.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I really do. Really like it. And you just see there how Michael Avdoka looks remarkably calm there. He almost looks like, do you know what it reminds me of? Is Parker from the Thunderbirds.
All we need to do is get him a chauffeur's hat, don't
We need to get, so it's Michael
the
Avdoka.
WSR branded.
WSR branded, free put chauffeur hat with Michael Parker Avdoka on it. Yes, my lady.
I was looking at Andrew Fairley, and he's gone with the in-ear monitors on his setup there as we head down towards Dry Sack again. Oh my goodness, almost contact there between him and the Boosted car and Ben Gregory. How they didn't make contact there, I don't know. As is that Jack Sedgwick behind them? I don't think it is it? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And he's in there trying to make as many moves forward as he can. And yeah, to say he's out of position there as Jack Sedgwick would be an understatement. Oh my word.
Oh,
readers.
You don't need to be a lip reader to. Certainly, the body language from Andrew wasn't exactly pleased with that contact there. He's still going on about it. Sedgwick now all over the back of Fairley. Now, this is where you've got to sort of think. Now, me, when I used to race in series like this, and I had someone of Jack Sedgwick's quality behind, I'd make it difficult for him to overtake, but I would just be like, right, I want to follow him through because he'll open some doors for me.
Well, let's see if that works out. This it's not quite working out that way. Of course, Andrew, fairly a new driver to the championship, so you know he'll be respected of no ego, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. Last season's champion, should I say, Jack Sedgwick, not had the best of defences or starts to a defence. It must be said. Now, Joel Newman is doing a superb job right at the front under pressure from Will Guthrie, but look who's rocketed up to behind them. Oh, this is a nice one. Can Guthrie get there? No, he can't. He's got to compromise himself on corner exit slightly, but Josh Thompson can't get by here as we get into the clumsy chicane here, the Ayrton Senna chicane, onto the power again, but you have to say, Josh Thompson, he's looking racy in this second race.
Very racy indeed. Yeah, two Pro-Am drivers up ahead of him is a great opportunity for Josh Thompson. He commented in the virtual paddock in between race 1 and 2 that he was really enjoying his driving here at Jerez, with the exception of the chicane, but he's looking strong in that Ferrari right now. It maybe doesn't suit these conditions, but so far he's driving it well.
Oh, down the inside. Oh, he made this move in race number 1 of the evening, and he's done it again. Well, we were saying that Michelin isn't necessarily an overtaking opportunity because it's only a short straight after the first corner, but my goodness, Josh Thompson has got that dialed in.
He has, yeah, he has. He's also running the Michelin tyre too, so it's perfect corner for him to go for that one. Up into second, and with his eyes forward on Joe Newman, who's got this fan club cheering him on, leading in that Lamborghini. So the prancing horse chases the galloping bull. Two animals that have their part in Jerez.
I was about to say the raging bull, to be honest.
The raging bull, yes, yes. Though they think that you see the rampant horse on the emblem of a Ferrari. That's actually Jerez is very famous for dancing horses. You
were mentioning before our broadcast, yes Peter. You mentioned that it's an area famous for dancing horses.
It is.
Not exactly
it's remarkable.
It's not exactly what I would associate with this area, if I'm honest.
Well, yeah. Andalusia is a very big equestrian area, but Jerez in particular, they have a school for dancing horses, and it is absolutely breathtaking to watch the control of the animal and the respect between the animal and the rider. It's if you've never seen it, it's something to behold. It's one of the wonders of the world, I think.
Are we talking a waltz or?
It can do. They'll do waltz. They'll do side trotting. They'll do. They'll actually jump in the air and kick their heels. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Well, from one horse to another, the Mustang is getting a little bit unstuck here. Dennis Grabowski and Ethan Critchley have both made their way past Anders Meyer. I do feel, Peter, that this Mustang, it is still taking a lot of getting used to, and teams being able to dial in setups to extract the most performance out of this car.
I think that applies to the virtual and the outdoor world right now. I think that would be a fair thing to say. It's not at its optimum yet, but many race cars are like that. They very rarely come straight out of the gates and are on it straight away. Unless they're an evolution of a previous model, then you've got quite a bit of baseline to work from, at least. But they're starting from a completely blank sheet of paper with the Mustang GT3. At the end of the day, it's probably the most, shall we say, how do I put this right? It's probably the least exotic base to work from of any GT3, I think, because you look at it, the car behind it, Porsche, a Porsche 911 starts at £100,000. The Ferrari, a couple of cars ahead, starts at about £300,000 for the road car. Audi R8, £150,000, whatever. So, you're taking a 40-50 grand base car, and then you've got to try and make a race car out of it. So you are pushing the envelope a little bit more.
And when they're designing the car, they're not necessarily thinking race car, whereas especially that Ferrari, it was basically race car first, and oh yeah, we have to sell some road cars of it, don't we?
Yeah, the Ferrari's got a lot more kind of, I mean, it's a very sophisticated car in its road form anyway. So building a race car out of it is chassis-wise is certainly a lot easier. So there's less optimization required. But move here up the inside. Number 10, Ethan Critchley, great move there into dry sack, and goes past Alex Gall, who hasn't really been able to capitalise on that grid spot.
No, not at all. He's really seems to just be slowly falling back here in this race. Josh Thompson is all over the rear of Joe Newman for the race lead right now. So at first and second place, there's Thompson. And you can see the body language, he's moving about, he's trying to get Joe Newman defending fresh air that will then set him up for another corner. In towards Lorenzo, that's the next opportunity. Or do we see him make his move through Michelin in that second corner, which seems to be Josh Thompson's favourite overtaking spot? We'll have to find out. It's not into Lorenzo, it's on corner exit, and that Lamborghini just seems to have just that little bit of edge coming out of the corner.
It does, it's got good drive. I wonder if that's that naturally aspirated engine where it just gets that it just gets that better drive, whereas the more spiky power delivery of the Ferrari just not quite able to get that power down. Well, doesn't get the move done at Michelin this time. Oh, a little bit wide there for Newman, and Thompson will try and get the power down as best as possible and carry the speed through, but there's definitely a big train up there who could capitalise here, but Joe Newman hanging on well.
Speaking of big trains, I mean, you look at the cars behind you, it's got Newman in the lead, Thompson in second, Guthrie in third, then it's Michael Gray in fourth, ahead of Ethan Critchley, Alex Gall, Dennis Grabowski, Anders Meyer, James Boumet, Ross McFarlane, Victor Wolfson at the back of the queue in 12th place. So first to 12, all in one queue, and Alex Davidson making some moves on Anders Meyer further down, and that was at Drysack.
So Davidson now up to 8th position, eighth position, so that's a great start to the race. He's only just 14 minutes or so in, so that's ideal. But around the outside now of Meyer is coming Boumet, knowing that he can't let Davidson get out of his sight, but Meyer's not having any of it. Meyer just putting the Mustang on the middle of the road there, and I tell you what, Boumet could get hung out to dry here, but he goes for it. Oh, Meyer is just placing that big Mustang exactly where it needs to be.
And here comes McFarlane through all of this. He can take advantage here at this point, and Boumé is just trying to hang on ahead of Ross McFarlane. Those two, don't forget the championship fight they had when Boumé won the championship here a few seasons ago. It was a tremendous battle all the way through the season between McFarlane and Boumé. It's great to see these two on track, duking it out once again. And Victor Wolfson, new to the series this season, is just sat there going, well, where do I go, chaps?
Victor Wolfson is, he could be the dark horse really of this championship. He's second right now, 59 points behind Alex Davidson, but just let the existing names, you know, knock into each other and take each other out and cause each other problems, and just sneak through and pick up the point. Just be invisible almost. And Victor Wilson's right there to pick up the pieces and just scoring good points all the time.
As they come through. Now, we're a quarter of an hour into this hour-long race. We've got a fuel cell limit of, it was 65%, wasn't it? Yes, 65% fuel cell limit. So that would take you to around about, what, 40 minutes or so?
I think maybe 40, that's maybe a bit of a push, I would say. Yeah. I would say just before that, I would think.
So you're going to be talking about 35 to 38 minutes, I would say, for that fuel cell. If you're stuck in a queue, like a lot of those people are in that front gaggle, do you basically just say, is there free air out there on track that I'm going to fall into? If it's yes, get yourself that free air and just put into lap after lap after lap.
Well, that might be the thing to do, because it is easy to get held up here at Jerez. So I wonder if that is the right way forward.
I mean, we are seeing for the race lead, Joe Newman still ahead of Josh Thompson. He's also ahead of Will Guthrie and Michael Gray, a second covering the top four. Thompson, of course, multiple-time World Championship licence holder, somebody who's competed in the Porsche Tag Heuer Sport Super Cup, won iRacing special events in the top split. He's an experienced driver. He's a quick driver as well. No wonder Team Redline picked him up. But he's struggling to get past Joe Newman right now. No offence to Joe Newman, by the way. Finished 11th in that first race. He's a quick driver, is Joe. Is it a case of Josh is now looking towards that clock and thinking, once I know that I can get home on fuel, I'll box?
Well, that may
it's
be
a risk.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one for Josh Thompson, because right now he's probably not deploying the speed that he ultimately wants to, and yeah, is maybe a little bit bottled up and wants to get a shift on, does Josh Thompson. And yeah, but the only thing is yeah, we're not quite at that fuel window yet. I think you need at least another 5 minutes before making that call.
As Michael Gray and Alex Gall duking it out through Lorenzo. Gray was a little squirrely on corner exit in his Audi, so I wonder if with these temperatures, it's 45.5 degrees, so track temperature it's come down a degree in Celsius, so it's not going to come down too much, but I think these hot temperatures, I think cars like the mid-engine cars, it's normally what, the left rear, well, depends on the type of track it is, but around here, left rear, because there is a lot of long radius right-handers, isn't there, around here, so you would imagine the left rear in a mid-engine car will be taking all the force.
Yeah, it will be, and yeah, that's one you would definitely want to change over, particularly in these hot conditions. You're putting a lot of stress through the tyres, so yeah, new ones are going to be very much appreciated. And also, as well, with those new tyres, they come off straight off the tyre rack as well, and aren't they're cold effectively. So you're delighted to put the cold tyres on. Normally it doesn't sound like that, but just keeps them down under the temperature where they overheat.
as we go through the iRacing Senna chicane once again. It is a 15-turn corner, is this? So 15-turn track, should I say, not 15-turn corner. That's a long corner if it's 15 turns. But 15-turn track. And again, that Lamborghini looking really good. Corner exit. I think you're right, Peter. That naturally aspirated engine in that Atomic Esports car is certainly doing a good job. Michael Evdoka is pitting this lap.
Oh, that's early.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit early for Michael Evdoka, but he's obviously done his sums. He's obviously done his sums that he can get home from there, but it is a track. We are off throttle quite a bit. There's a lot of rolling off the throttle, a lot of longer corners, so maybe it's more on the more frugal side there for Michael Evdoka.
It used to be the Porsche was the most frugal of the cars, but then the Ferrari came along, didn't it? And that seemed to be the frugal car currently out there, so keep an eye on them. Although James Boumé in the Audi last week was doing a tremendous job saving fuel, wasn't he? So he can pull it out of the bag.
Yes, he was. Yeah, it's definitely possible if you stick your head down and get on with it and stick to a good plan. It is doable. Joe Newman, what a job he's doing. 21 minutes with Josh Thompson right up behind him. It's just fantastic to see, and Thompson just cannot find a way through. Newman's just plenty quick enough in the right places to keep Thompson at bay, and even at his favourite corner at Michelin, he's not able to make that move.
Now I've got a track map up, so I can see where Michael Evdoka came out onto the track, and he's right behind Ian Brown, who's yet to pit. So he's in the tail of the field there. He's not come out in clean air as Gabriel Erdelai comes onto pit road now in his Porsche. So if these leaders were to pit, so say Josh Thompson decided to pit, he'd come out right in that mid-pack, and you'd be then slowed down by that pack. You have to stay out in this situation.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's a tough one though. I mean, it's a relatively compact circuit though. That's the only thing with Jerez is there isn't as much real estate there to fit everybody on, especially with a field of 50 cars or so. So yeah, Thompson, you wonder, is he at some point going to have to go? This is just going to have to be a fuel saving effort until we get to the right pit window, and then take it from there. Hard to say, very, very hard to say, but we'll find out shortly, because I think now we're starting to, the next lap or two, we will be into that pit window opening properly.
Christopher Wilkins and Bacon Zelenka on to pit road as well from further down your field, so they've decided now's the time, along with Phil Samways, to make their pit stops. And again, Thompson is there, and credit to Joe Newman. It's not like Joe Newman is defending fresh air at every single corner, is he? He's running his line. He knows where he's got that strength of that Lamborghini seems to be on corner exit out of slow corners, and he seems to have that absolutely dialed in perfectly to hold off Josh Thompson. Oh no, there was contact there. Michael Gray and Alex Davidson making contact there as Dennis Grabowski's made it past now. So Grabowski's on his way forward.
Yeah, Grabowski on a charge in the Audi. But yeah, you're right. It is that off corner drive where the Lamborghini of Joe Newman is definitely playing well. It does seem to be a difference between the naturally aspirated cars, the Audi, the Lamborghini, and the Porsche, and the turbocharged cars like the Ferrari. Where the turbocharged car, the Ferrari particularly, is really struggling to put the power down in the hotter temperatures. Just seems to just spin the rear tyres, and that in turn, of course, puts the temperature up and pressure up, and then takes the grip away even more. So it's a really vicious circle for the drivers of the Ferraris.
But you see, in years gone by, and I'm talking back like 6 or 7 years ago, Josh Thompson would have made a rash move, would have just thrown it down the inside and absolutely obliterated both of them. Right here, I think this is where Josh has matured as a driver. He knows he's quick, but I think running in series like this has actually helped him develop that maturity. It does come out every now and again if somebody does something to annoy him, but normally now his default is he's patient, he'll wait for his opportunity and then he'll take it when it comes.
He will. Oh, but this might change things. Ethan Critchley having a big move there. Now, is he going to get this done on William Guthrie? Ethan Critchley coming on the move may well change Josh Thompson's demeanour, because up to now, Josh Thompson hasn't really been under threat by any other pro drivers. So now he is. Now he's got Ethan Critchley right behind him, who has got past Guthrie, who's had to force his way through pretty aggressively. And Grabowski might be on the scene now too as well. So now Thompson might actually have to get the wriggle on and try and get past Newman, because it's seeing more pro drivers making their way to the front. He is now more under threat than he was before that.
Grabowski had a bit of a slide on through Michelin, which didn't help him. James Boumet has pitted. He's come out in 31st out onto the track, and he is number 28. He is right behind other cars of Simon Andre Livingston, Nikolai Agard, Taylor Lynn, Tom Weston. He's come out right in a queue of that mid-pack that have yet to pit. And this is what I talked about, Peter, if you did take that early pit stop.
Yeah, you could run into big traffic problems if you pit too early. Yeah, it's such a difficult conundrum here to get the strategy right in this special event format. But still, Joe Newman is doing what he needs to do. They are going to come up against a little bit of lap traffic now, which could well give Thompson an opportunity to try and pick the pocket of Newman, but no such issue, as the full tilt Audi being lapped pulls right over and allows the leaders to come through. That's great sportsmanship.
Yeah, Nathan Healy doing a good job there, getting out of everybody's way. Nick Kersons has had a drive-through penalty. He's just serving it now. You can see him in pit road. So that was not an instant point penalty. That was him picking up a pit lane infringement, probably on pit exit. So very easily done here. There you see the positions gained. Adam Watson's up 7 places so far in this race. He's been on a bit of a charge. He's known as by his team boss as a nuclear weapon, so that can, and we've all seen that, haven't we, Peter, of that sort of side of Adam, even just last week.
Yes, we have.
I won't say the first word that his team boss calls it, but nuclear weapon is the second and third words.
Adam is his first name. 33 minutes to go, with Newman holding off Josh Thompson for now, but Critchley's bridging the gap now. Critchley is getting closer and closer to the back of Thompson, and that could change things. And Thompson just trying to show himself in the mirror a little bit there of Newman's machine, and yeah, he's looking a little bit more pressing now. Is Josh Thompson. Of course, he can then, if the pit window is around 38 minutes, you could run to about 22 minutes to go thereabouts. So still about 10 minutes to the end of the fuel window if he stays where he is.
Josh Osborne saying that his team, Atomic Esports, are the average Joes of the WGTC. So who's the Patches O'Houlihan, and what's the 5 rules of your team then? As look to the inside for the Atomic Esports driver. So Grabowski fell back a little bit. He's having to work forward again, and Michael Gray is the one who loses the place. Meanwhile, Ross McFarlane is the latest one to move past Alex Gall, who's working his way backwards down the field, unfortunately for him, in his Ferrari.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive and dodge.
No, but I'm asking what's their rules of their team then? Oh, it's Gall.
Probably fairly similar, I would think.
True, absolutely. As Anders Meyer now working his way alongside Alex Gall, onto the brakes, into dry sack, and on power, that Mustang gets ahead of the Ferrari. So Alex Garland, that's Apex Racing Academy car, just dropping down the field. 10th place now. That's a drop of 7 places in this race. That surprises me with Alex.
All I can think of now is Atomic Esports throwing wrenches at each other in team practices. Just saying, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge.
You can dodge a Watson.
You can dodge a Watson.
By the way, I'm not picking on Adam. It's just the first one that came to my head. As we carry on at the front, we're waiting for the front 25 to still pit. James Boumet's in 26th now. He has got ahead of a group of cars. So James Boumet, he is around about. I'm just trying to figure this out here on the timing screen. He's around about 34 seconds off of the race leader right now. And his pit stop lane time, so cone to cone, is 35.9 seconds.
So as we're heading just half race distance, so it hangs in the balance here, doesn't it? Who's going to come to the fore? Ross McFarlane's had a fairly quiet time, having started in 11th. He's only up to 8th.
He'll gain the 3 spots though, to be fair, and he had to. Remember, he was embroiled in a fight with James Boumet for long enough because those two were together on track. So yeah, Ross has had to work his way forward against people of similar quality as him. But with it being a small reverse grid, we're not seeing that same charge through the field from some of your pro drivers that we normally see if we get a big reverse grid, are we? It's the nature of it being a small reverse means that you're up against drivers who are of a similar pace as you.
Very true. Yeah, very true. When you think of it like that, that there isn't so much big progression to make. Maybe the progression is going to come from clever pit strategy and getting that right with 29 minutes. So we're now, in the next 5 laps or so, we could see quite a few cars peeling off into the pit lane to take their pit stops, because I think as well, if you're going to change the tyre as well, you want to get the very best out of the new tyre that you put on.
Well, that's it. Yeah, if you leave it until the very last minute for you to have your pit stop and you make a tyre change, you're not gaining the advantage out of doing that tyre change. Whereas if you're around about halfway, you are getting a half and half approach to it. So yeah, you could have that advantage. Ben Altria and Nikolai Agard are onto pit road now for their stops. Ben's just leaving his pit box as Nikolai comes onto the pit box, and still it's Joe Newman from Josh Thompson. Ethan Critchley putting the pressure on Josh. I have a funny feeling that Josh, I think you're right, Peter, is looking behind him and thinking, Ethan can throw some moves. He's a karter, and he knows what karting moves are like, does Josh, because he used to do them here in the sim.
Yeah, so I think this definitely does change the approach for Josh Thompson. It was all looking fairly comfortable, and then now with that WSR Esports Porsche of Ethan Critchley getting closer and closer behind, it's either, I think you've got to do one of two things here if you're Josh Thompson. You either got to just try and get a move done on Joe Newman if you can, and if you can't, come in for the pit stop. Oh, look at that, there you go.
Right on cue. Why, Pete? Oh, he's only just made the corner though, as Josh. And that's the problem here, isn't it? This pit entry, you're already on a hairpin. It's a really tight hairpin that you're going through onto pit road.
It's full lock. Yeah, absolutely full lock to get round there. So, yeah, just Josh showing just how easy it is to get it wrong. So that frees up Ethan Critchley now. Will he move forward now and make his own challenge to Joe Newman? Of course, he's got a little bit better traction than the Ferrari, it has Ethan Critchley, so he might be able to make a challenge that a little bit better possibly. But Thompson, he's already been in, he's already got his stop, he's already back rejoining the race. But look at the traffic. Oh my word, the traffic.
Look who's ahead of him now. Alongside him forget about that, in front of him, James Boumet has jumped Josh Thompson through the pit stops. So that early pit stop, once he'd finally got through some of the traffic, that's worked in Boumet's favour here.
It has, yeah. We've seen Boumet make that early stop work before, and he's clearly keen to get by this Mustang ahead because he can see that he has jumped Thompson, but he doesn't want to have any further delay. So let's see what Boumet can do, because if he gets stuck behind any longer, he will have Thompson right up his trumpet before too long. And yeah, he's going to try and go around the outside at dry sack. Nope, still no room there.
And this is the problem with taking an early pit stop. It's worked in jumping him ahead of Thompson, but it's not working in him being stuck behind traffic as he works his way through. Any more takers for pit road? Yes, the WSR boys are on to pit road. So it's Ethan Critchley, Alex Davidson, Ross McFarlane. There's also Victor Wolfson, Jake Blackhall onto pit road. So 5 cars onto pit road for their pit stop after 20 laps.
I mean, also you've got to think as well for the cars ahead of James Boumet here, the Mustang ahead of now that is just ahead of Boumet is Angelveld, Leander Angelveld. I don't know why you're defending so hard, really, because you're just holding yourself up, and Boumet's going to get by anyway. So yeah, just go in, let them go. Oh,
well,
my word.
2 of the WSR cars, Ethan Critchley and Alex Davidson, have come out ahead of Boumet. Now, they were ahead of Boumet before the pit stop cycle started. I just feel that Boumet just being held up a little bit, not just by the Ford, but also by others during this one. It's just not quite worked out. When you're at a track where it's a bit easier to overtake, then it sort of works more in your favour, doesn't it, this sort of move in terms of strategy. But when you're going to other tracks where you've got a bit more room, I mean, next time out, I've completely lost my schedule, but next time out I think it is a little bit more easier than we are here. Yeah, well, actually I say that, no, it's Circuit Zandvoort, another track that's difficult to overtake at.
Even more difficult, I would say, yeah. I really don't understand the approach here from Leander Angelveld in the Ford. Like, don't get me wrong, you don't need to jump out of the way of anybody, definitely not, but it is counterintuitive to be throwing just big late blocks, like leave the door wide open into dry sack there for Boumet and then shut the door at the apex. That just doesn't make any sense. You're going to be coming into the pits imminently anyway, so yeah, it's Boumet's going to now have a go up the inside at Lorenzo on our picture-in-picture there. And does he get through? Yes. And now Leander Angelveld loses a load of time as 2 of them go through, and he's now going to get swamped again by Ross McFarlane here. So yeah, kind of throwing yourself into the piranha pool there.
Oh, he's going to hold it round the outside. Ross won't be appreciative of that and gives him a bit of a squeeze on corner exit. Into Michelin he goes, and it's another WSR. Just when you think you've seen the last of the WSR Porsches, here comes another one. It just seems to be one after the other. Gabriel Erdelai certainly doing a good job of recovering points from starting at the back of the grid in the first race of the evening. Now, here's a big one. Boumet versus Thompson. It's Audi versus Ferrari. And Thompson's not able to make a move down into dry sack, but Thompson's keen to move forward because he wants to get to those other WSR Porsches.
He does, but we saw how difficult it was to get by Joe Newman, so is that going to be the same here to get by former champion James Boumet? It could well be for Josh Thompson, and of course those 2 WSR Porsches just up ahead, 22 minutes to go. Grabowski into the pits now from 3rd position. Alex Gall carries on, as does Anders Meyer, as does Joe Newman. So they're pushing the pit window to the very limit.
Adam Watson onto pit road as well, decided to have a pit stop. Nathan Healy stopped out on track, so he's had issues, but he's getting going once again. As we come out of Lorenzo, No, not named after the RaceSpotTV commentator of the Bonda variety, but certainly he'll be looking at that name. And there you go. There's Grabowski ahead of James Boumé, right onto the tail of Ethan Critchley.
So 21 minutes to go then. No, it's not the solid crew. Oh no, that was 21 seconds, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing bad memories.
Whatever happened to them?
Who cares? Sorry, that's brutal honesty
That was
from me.
absolute savagery.
Dennis Grabowski having a look there. We've still got 10 drivers at the front owing as a pit stop. And yeah, certainly Grabowski's putting the pressure on Ethan Critchley now. Ethan going from being attacking, he's now going defensive. But you look at that, Critchley ahead of Thompson through all of that pit stop cycle. Newman and Gall pit. Anders Meyer is staying out for another lap. Nathan Moore onto pit road. Jamie Rushworth is staying out for another lap. Anybody else? Any other takers for pit lane? And the answer is yes, there is. Jack Sedgwick and Andy Archer as well. So they're onto pit road for their pit stop in this race. Just under 20 minutes to go in this one. It's certainly been an intriguing race, that is for sure.
Yes, it has, hasn't it? Been very much one of strategy, of tactics, and who gets it right. Joe Newman now coming out. Is going to filter in behind? No, he's going to filter ahead there of McFarlane. Was that?
No, was it? I can't see. Newman, Gabriel Erdelai. He came out in front of, behind Ross. So there we go. So it shows how people having to get out into clean air has just allowed people to make moves. And Grabowski, very, very aggressive, trying to keep the slipstream on Ethan Critchley here. Critchley to the inside. Oh, that's squeezing him off the track there between the two of them. I think they got a little bit hooked together there. And that's going to allow Josh Thompson now to make a move on Boumé. Boumé tried to move. Grabowski's trying to hold off Thompson through all of this. Boumé's round the outside. In the meantime, Ethan Critchley's saying, see you later, folks, I'm off.
Yeah, Ethan Critchley's got away with that one well, hasn't he? And Boumé's struggling with all he's got to try and keep Thompson at bay. He's got the inside line here for the chicanes. Whoa! Thompson goes to jink to the inside but can't make something work. Boumé hangs on to it just. They all go back to where they were, but my goodness me, that was close. As
also Myers and Rushworth and Ashford onto pit road. Eric Rousseff, 24 laps in his Ford Mustang. So there we go, everybody. That's a top tip for you. If you want to drive a GT3 car around Jerez, drive a Mustang. Might not be the quickest, but it's being fuel efficient. As here comes another one of the Mustangs. That is Anders Meyer alongside the Altitude Esports car of Dennis Grabowski and James Boumé.
Oh, side by side now. Here comes McFarlane around the outside of Thompson, but no, can't quite get it done. Can't quite get it done, but yeah, they've kind of been split up a little bit with that Mustang. But here comes Newman up the inside of McFarlane. So now is this the point? Is this the point in the race where we see the WSR Esports cars start to fade, or is it just coincidence?
I think it might be a little bit of coincidence here, because there was a terse flash of the headlights from McFarlane, and again a little bit of a rub. That won't help the paintwork out on that Atomic Esports car. And, well, Joe Newman's now getting a little bit swamped, it seems, He's quite right to fight for his position though in that Lamborghini. Started on pole position, held on to the lead for 22 laps. Around the outside goes Will Guthrie. No, not quite. But now you've got 3 Pro-Ams together. Newman, Guthrie and Gray all ahead of Gall as they go into the chicane. Oh, Guthrie's made contact with Newman. And here comes Michael Gray. No, he's not able to make it past. Newman's going to have a slowdown penalty. That allows Michael Gray ahead. And oh my goodness, after leading 22 laps, Newman is down to 3rd in class.
Oh dear, it's all just starting to unravel now for Joe Newman. What a shame. The thing is, if you pick a fight with the pros, you're gonna, you can get roughed up very, very easily. Oh, bit of a move here from Gray at the inside there into turn 1. Gets it. Oh no, that's Watson. Excuse me, Adam Watson. Oh dear. Pick a fight with Adam Watson at your peril. Oh my word, this is getting very, very heavy. What did I say about Victor Wilson being the invisible man? It's not working out like that, is it?
I'm going to say, is this where Victor Wilson gets introduced to Adam Watson? So we go through. That's a move and a half, isn't it? My goodness, that was aggressive from Wolfson. He's turned around and said, Adam, oh, you want to be aggressive? I'll be aggressive back. They're continuing it. Oh, Watson's on the grass, and that was the inevitable. That was the inevitable contact. Meanwhile, Grabowski's had contact further up. That's Ethan Critchley that he's fighting with as well. Wolfson carries on but drops down positions. And my goodness, all of a sudden it seems to be a switch has been flicked and people are going a little bit crazy. Oh, Watson's got damage.
You think? Yeah, I'd need to get another look at that before passing any comment.
It was silly.
It looked silly, yeah. At first glance, it looked very silly.
Oh, Grabowski, what a move on Ethan Critchley into the Ayrton Senna chicane. Who says he can't overtake at this place? Here comes Boumet, looking to the inside, no, and around the outside, Anders Meyer and his big Ford Mustang's getting involved. Josh Thompson's getting roughed up from behind by Ross McFarlane. McFarlane flashes the headlights. Don't know why you're doing that, Ross. There's nothing that Thompson did wrong there.
I mean, yeah, it was certainly, I would say it was McFarlane who came from quite a long way back. There was a gap there and he filled it, but yeah, if you dive into the scrum, don't be surprised to get a finger up your nose, because it can happen. Goodness me, who said you couldn't overtake at Jerez? That might have been me. Anyway, bin that.
Well, one driver who's delighted by all of this fighting and this aggressiveness is Alex Davidson. He's been quietly going about things, 5.1 seconds ahead of Dennis Grabowski. Thompson is side by side with Anders Meyer. The grunt of that Mustang down the straights is absolutely sensational. The problem is when it comes to the twisty stuff, isn't it, with that Mustang?
Yeah, it certainly knows how to gallop. It's the turning that's the issue for that Mustang, and Thompson gets the move done then on Anders Meyer, moves up to 5th. Right, this is going to give us a look at what's going on here. I mean, neither come out great there, to be honest.
The throttle pedal works both ways, I would say, to Adam Watson there.
Yes, I would also say Victor Wilson just...
Yes.
Yeah, there's not a card given there either. So they're both bang their heads together and go, well, you both just ruined your own races, and that's penalty enough.
It certainly is, and although I do think that the stewards will have a look at that one, I think, post-event. Remember, all
or you penalise
results...
both, because I think they both come out not looking very good at that.
No, it was silly, it was unnecessary, and yeah, it's not a great look as that at all. Well, Dennis Grabowski, 2nd place. He's got 12.5 minutes to try and gain 5 seconds on Alex Davidson. Alex Davidson's, I'm breaking it out, Peter. The Silver Salva is going to Alex Davidson for this race. Average lap time of 42.774 compared to a 43.233 for Grabowski.
I'm glad we spent the hours in the off-season getting the Paul Smith Silver Salver, getting it really nice and polished well for a worthy winner, but it can still be claimed. That's the benchmark that the drivers are going after if they want that prized prized trophy in global motorsport.
The most coveted of all the motorsport.
Yes, the Paul Smith Silver Salver NFT.
That is absolutely worthless, like every other NFT. Well, I mean, Critchley, he's trying his best to keep up with Dennis Grabowski, but that Audi, I think you're absolutely right, Peter. I think the second half of the race, that Audi has really come alive in terms of against the Porsches and has started working its way forward. It's only by like half a tenth a second per lap, but it has got that edge now.
It does, yeah, it does. While all this has been going on, Alex Davidson, championship leader, is cleared off at the front. He's 5 seconds up the road. He's probably got no idea of the melee that's going on behind him, and probably doesn't care. He's probably delighted. He's already on the Bluetooth phone, which I'm sure comes as standard on the 992 GT3R. He's phoning up to La Cueva restaurant and asking them for them to get a couple of bottles of Hacienda Monasterio breathing for the victory lunch.
Oh my goodness, what's a victory lunch going to be like if you had a
12 hours
lunch?
easily.
Yeah.
round of cold Tio Pepes to start off.
Well, on to the brakes once again. They're in an orderly queue right now, but give it 5 minutes and that orderliness might change things. Josh Thompson's 5th, Anders Meyer in 6th. I will say, top Pro-Am, Will Guthrie. It was a, how shall we say, robust move on Joe Newman to take the lead of Pro-Am. He's ahead of Michael Gray. Michael Gray looking for another double win in Pro-Am. Michael Gray has had a sensational start to the season in Pro-Am.
He has, yeah, very, very strong indeed. And yeah, and this is just where, you know, we've seen it before with Sophia Ridpath with BMW, but when you've stuck with the car long term, it becomes a piece of you. It becomes an extension of you. You know, it's every little up and down of the car. You know what it can and can't do. Yes, the car has had an evolution, but in general it has its driving characteristics, and that is what Michael Gray has stuck with this Audi for several seasons, and now that it appears to be a very competitive package, he's now reaping the benefit.
Great to see Mark Fletcher in the chat as well, and he's on the pint of the black stuff, and no, I'm not talking about a pint of Bovril. It's something a bit more alcoholic that comes from Ireland. I won't mention the name of the brand. Other stouts are available as well.
Creamy pint, love it.
Yeah, rather than driving, to be honest, I think after he'll be watching this driving and thinking, oh, I'm happy to actually be sat here watching it instead.
It's making me thirsty.
Well, the good news is, Peter, we've got a week off next week to be able to have a lovely calm Monday evening, a cold drink in hand, and then come back the following week for Zandvoort, where nothing bad has ever happened in this series.
No. I'm sure it'll be an incredibly processional race where absolutely nothing happens. I've also got some good tourist facts to go along with Zandvoort too. Delicacies.
I've talked to Lewis McLeod in the past about his visits to Zandvoort, and he thinks it's a dump, the track.
Well, he just wouldn't know culture if it slapped him in the face. Love you, Lewis.
We'll clip that.
In his defence, the town of Zandvoort, granted, isn't great, but if you go maybe a 10-minute cycle ride away just around the dunes, there's some lovely towns just very close. But yes, okay, I'll give him that. Zandvoort itself.
Again, the calmest man on the grid, Michael Evdoka, just looks like he's out for a Monday evening drive here.
The Parker hat has to happen.
Yes. I've got bad news. Bacon Zelenka has picked up a drive-through penalty. So that's incident points infringement for him. course, with it being the second race being twice the length, you get an extra 4 instant points.
Dear, that's, there's going to be quite a big incident point total all round today.
I will mention as well, Billy Kinselenka, not only did he have a drive-through penalty, he's also got a mechanical meatball warning flag as well. So I don't know how he's achieved that. That's quite the achievement, I would think. Because, yeah, Evdoka's just chilling out this evening. Although he's got a bit of a sweat on it. It's a bit warm here in the UK to be racing. I'm sure it's warmer elsewhere in the world. You don't need to bring that up in the chat. But it's warm enough in this room. That's why the tactical flat cap is helping to keep any sweat out of my brow.
And it kept the sun off your head at Monza too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a safety cap.
It is. It is. It is. And to be honest, it's all the safety cap you need when you're from Yorkshire, because you're double hard anyway.
Well, I said wait 5 minutes for things to kick off. Ethan Critchley has got back onto the tail of Denis Grabowski here in his Porsche. So Grabowski now will be feeling the pressure of the young Northerner.
Where was this Denis Grabowski that we know? This is the Denis Grabowski we very much know. What Denis Grabowski was it that turned up in round 1 and 2? Because it's not this one. He was nowhere.
Yeah, it's completely different. I think they've really got this Audi dialed in though for Jerez, haven't they? Altitude Esports have done a really good job and a really good number on this Audi.
Yeah, they have, but then to be honest, compared to his teammates, he was nowhere as well. So it is a bit of a mystery how Denis is. I mean, this is absolutely out the textbook, Denis Grabowski, what we've seen for the last couple of seasons. This is what you would put money on him doing. But yeah, it was just the first couple of rounds, he was just out to lunch.
Well, I mean, this is the Denis Grabowski who was part of a World Championship endurance team, had a pro license here on iRacing as part of the now defunct VRS GT Endurance Series that I commentated on, actually. I commentated on that series, Peter, and it was a really good, entertaining series, was that?
Any series has to have Boltzmann commentary.
You know, flattery will get you a long way in this world, Peter.
Yes, it's done all right for me so far.
Well, we've got 4 minutes remaining in this race, and I think we're just waiting for something to happen right now. The time is running out for these drivers. We've got about 3 laps remaining here on this one. Alex Davidson pulled out the lead even more. He's now 6.5 seconds ahead of this battle that you're seeing on the screen. Denis Grabowski, Ethan Critchley and James Boumé, and Ethan's trying all the tricks in the book, trying to move about behind Denis to make him be looking in his mirrors rather than looking forward. Will Guthrie is your top prime ahead of Michael Gray in 9th and 10th place with Joe Newman, who started on pole in 12th. Your top AM driver is going to be, surprise, surprise, Rhys Saunders. He's in 19th place, ahead of Ben Altria, who's in 23rd. And Jesse Payne Wilkins is the 3rd placed AM driver in 29th. So, again, good results for Rhys and for Ben to be getting some good points in their championship charge.
Yeah, very, very good points to stack up early on in this first quarter of the season, and yeah, just a couple of minutes to go, and those results will be confirmed. Alex Davison, yeah, 6.4 seconds is his advantage when particularly when the rest of the gaggle behind got into that big fracas. He took his opportunity to break away. Michael Evdoka now side by side, coming up into turn 1 now. Can he get the move done? No, not quite.
But he's got the inside line for Michelin corner, onto the brakes, and Evdoka moving forward ahead of Eric Rousseff Jack Sedgwick isn't that far behind either, it must be said. He's just behind Reece Saunders. He's gained 31 places. Oh, Eric Rousseff, big moment there through the left-hander, and both Sedgwick and the driver in front of him, Reece Saunders, had to make a big correction and a big move out the way.
For Reece Saunders, this is not what he wants to see when he's looking at getting an AM win, and he opens the door wide open there for Jack Sedgwick, and Rousseff has to back out of it in the Mustang there too. So yeah, Saunders just trying to get this car home, get a big bag of points. Ben Altria is not only 3-4 positions behind, so he can't afford any mistake, can Reece Saunders. So no point getting in any big fights. Yes, you're giving away a few points because you score your points overall, but an AM win is an AM win.
Yeah, absolutely. You take that with everything that you can, but Jack Sedgwick, again, we mentioned it, or you and Lorenzo mentioned it at the opener after his big recovery drive. He's had to make another recovery drive. There's a flash of the headlights, and James Boumé is dropping down the order. And Josh Thompson is ahead of him. Ross McFarlane, Anders Meyer is alongside him here, and also Gabriel Erdelai is getting involved in all of this. It is the last lap here. Something must have happened at that last corner of Lorenzo.
You'd have to think so. You'd have to think so. Either that, or James Boumé is running out of fuel. Gabriel Erdelai and it's Gabriel Erdelai and Anders Meyer are side by side. They're making it easy for Boumé now, but Boumé appears to be picked back up to pace again, so maybe he can hang on to this position, finish in 6th and bank another load of points. But it's meanwhile look behind Gabriel Erdelai, new driver to the series with WSR Esports, and that Ford just cannot change direction like the Porsche, not even close.
Well, Alex Davidson is singing all the way to the bank here in this race. He's in the lead. He's coming through towards the end of the lap. He's been lapping a few drivers. He's got a couple of lap drivers between him and Dennis Grabowski. But what a drive after... It was all about the strategy call here for Alex Davidson and for the WSR Esports Butt Kicker team into Lorenzo for the final time. And Alex Davidson, it makes it a WSR Esports Butt Kicker double win here today for round number 5 of the World GT Championship. Alex Davidson is your race winner. Will Guthrie out the last corner. He's got Michael Gray right behind him, but he's going to take Pro-Am win here as well. And then look a little bit further down the order, because Reece Saunders, he's fighting away with the Race Labs car, but Reece Saunders, once again, your AM winner here today.
Just imperious in AM for Reece Saunders, and yeah, you do wonder how long he's going to hang on to that AM status, but you can't take those wins away. He's been really impressive, so consistent.
Yeah, been great to see him come along here and continue pushing forward and fighting, and there's fighting further down the field there. There's the Ford getting across the line there for Leander. A few more cars coming through across the line. The last few cars will be reaching the checkered flag, but I think before we go to the results, Peter, I think it was a bit of I think it's honest to say, a bit messy was that race, wasn't it, at times?
Just a bit, yes, just a bit messy in places, but some great racing too. You know, you look at that shuffling for position around from 2nd all the way down to 6th with Grabowski, Grinchley, Thompson, McFarlane, Boumé. They were all playing for keeps in there. That was really interesting. Yeah,
it certainly was intriguing to watch that one. Last couple of cars across the line, and it's going to be Nathan Healy who will see the checkered flag last. And then once he crosses the line, we will be able to give you your provisional race results here from round number 5 of the World GT Championship. And certainly these drivers have been having a great run here in season 16. Alex Davidson, though, another race win to his name for the Pro Championship leader from WSR Esports butt kicker. Dennis Grabowski finishes 6 seconds behind in that Altitude Esports by 3M Audi in second place. Third for Ethan Critchley for WSR Esports, ahead of Josh Thompson just by 4/10 of a second over those two. Ross McFarlane in 5th, ahead of James Boumet in 6th. Gabriel Erdelai and Anders Meyer the top 8. And then the first of your Pro-Ams, Full Tilt Racing's Will Guthrie finishes in 9th place, ahead of the Full Tilt Motorsport driver Michael Gray. Then in 11th it's Alex Gall, and behind him was Joe Newman. The Burst News started on pole position, down to 12th place in the end, ahead of Nathan Moore. Jamie Rushworth and Jake Blackall, then the two KRD cars, are next up in 14th and 15th, ahead of Victor Wolfson. Michael Evdoka. Jack Sedgwick, the recovery drive, ends up making 33 places up into 18th place in the end, ahead of your top AM, Reece Saunders, for the Altitude Esports by Mr. Hedge team. 19th overall, another AM win in the books for him. Eric Rousseff rounds out your top 20. 21st for Thomas Ashfag, ahead of Andy Archer. Then Ben Altria, the second place in his Full Tilt Motorsport car, in 23rd, ahead of Phil Samways, Josh Boot, Leander Engelfelt, Matthias Temme with Adam Watson. Then Jesse Payne Wilkins, third place in AM, is for Full Tilt competition. Delighted to get into the top 30, ahead of Jonathan Walker in 30th place. 31st for Andy Shield, ahead of Chris Chatterton. Taylor Lane and Mike Order are the next two, with Ben Gregory, Simon Lendre Livingston, Harry Langford, Adam Locke, Mike Barber and Nikolai Agard. And round out your 40th, and then 41st for Tom Watson. Mads Kelton, the last driver on the lead lap, in 42nd, ahead of Adam Hedgecock. Ben Bennyworth, Nick Kirstens and Nathan Healy, one lap down in 46th. The rest of the drivers do not finish. Bacon Zelenka, Andrew Fairley, and Ian Brown, Peter Herschel. And then the last car to not finish was Alessandro Torchio. Well, once again, we have our weekly chat with Josh Thompson, and he's going to be standing by with Peter Mackay here on the commentary box. Let's bring him in. And Peter, take it away with Josh.
Josh, thanks for coming to join us once again here on RaceSpotTV. A new track for World GT Championship. How did you find it?
Awful. The actual track itself was fine. I kind of had a bit more hope in the car, but as you saw, clearly had absolutely nothing tonight, so it's where it is.
Where is the main area where you're missing, do you think?
Traction. It's like the dash is like a Christmas tree midway through a stint, so I don't know. In the cool attempt, it's okay, but even then, like here, if it was colder, we had a chance. But on a long run or any sort of hot temp, it's just, I don't know, I'm just bleeding 3 or 4 attempts every corner. You can see, like, even against the Mustang, right? In race 1, I couldn't do anything. Race 2, I was stuck behind the Lambo for 11 laps just because I couldn't get an exit. So, I know, it's all in the exit at the moment, so what to do, I guess.
And is that the engine characteristic compared to the normally aspirated cars, would you say, Josh, or is it something else?
Probably a little bit of that, but also just, I think, just how iRacing is fundamentally some of the cars we've always known over the years. The Audi and Lambo and Porsche have always had ridiculous traction, but normally drop off through the stint. However, at the moment, they don't drop off, and they're ridiculous off every corner, so it's a bit of an uphill battle, but we'll have to see how it goes going forward.
And looking forward, now we've got a week off before heading over to Zandvoort. Does that give you enough time to try and find a solution to the setup issues?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, around there should be a bit better. Again, it's just going to be down to qualifying, but the car's not particularly good. But at the end of the day, if people want to race how they race tonight, it was a bit of a joke just watching the implosion. If that's how people want to race, then I'm all game for it at Zandvoort.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. Josh, thanks for coming to chat to us, and good luck at Zandvoort.
All good. Cheers, guys.
Well, there we go. The gauntlet's been thrown down there, Peter. I forget about the tin hats. I think we need the full Kevlar and bulletproof vests, don't we? After hearing that.
Yes, I think we might well do. That is big talk there from Josh Thompson. But yeah, it's we could see it on on the footage, but it's always good to get a word from the driver of just how extreme an issue is. And yeah, losing a lot of time on the corner exit on putting the power down. And yeah, if you're in an Audi or a Porsche right now, you're looking good according to Thompson.
Well, we mentioned it. Next week we've got a week off. The drivers get a little bit of a break, and then 2 weeks' time, August the 19th, is another special event. This time around Circuit Zandvoort, the high bankings of Zandvoort. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but there we go. The new Zandvoort is here for us to have a play around, and we'll see how the drivers get on there. Then it's Suzuka and Misano are the next 2 races after that, taking us to the start of September. Peter, final thoughts for today. Yes, it was messy at times, but as you mentioned, we saw some great racing out there as well.
We did, and we saw a champion's drive in both races from Alex Davidson. He will go out of this event with a big championship lead in Pro. His nearest competitors didn't quite get everything together over the whole race meeting, so Alex Davidson leaves this first quarter of the season in a position that I think he couldn't have even wished for in his wildest dreams. He's absolutely in the driving seat heading into the second part, the second quarter of the season.
Well, make sure you join us in 2 weeks' time here on RaceSpotTV for round 6 and 7 of the championship. For myself, Paul Smith, from Peter Mackay, Hugo Luis behind the scenes here on the broadcast, we'll wish you farewell and see you in 2 weeks' time.